Jimmy, how you doing? What have you been up to today?
I'm doing all right. I just finished a review on this
Ooh, you
guy.
brought
If
one.
you guys can
Sweet.
see it.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Xbox One S. I don't know which camera. I should probably one of those two.
That's good.
Yeah, so I just reviewed this this morning, or rather the NDA just left it this morning.
Yeah, let's get into that. We are going to be talking about the Xbox One S, which when is it like publicly available? Today. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I could get one if I wanted to, but there's one right here, so I'm going to just take this afterward. But anyway, people are like curious about this because the Scorpio is also announced, and right now that's the working title. I don't know if that's going to be the final
Scorpio,
name of
right.
it. Yeah, Project Scorpio. The Xbox One launched with a few problems and everything. Like hardware-wise, it's kind of it was always up for discussion on a variety of fronts. But I guess people are curious about this. I guess the overarching question, which we can get into later after we talk about the specs and what's new with it and what it does for people who might have an Xbox. The overarching question being, is it worth getting with the Scorpio on the horizon? Yeah, just jump right in there, I guess. Like, what's your take?
Yeah,
on
I
that?
mean, it really depends on where you're coming from. So I would say if you have an Xbox One already, then don't upgrade to this unless you really want the HDR and 4K support. So this Xbox can do HDR 4K video streaming. So yeah, I wouldn't upgrade if you already have an Xbox One. If you do, want that, those media features, then this thing is, as far as I'm concerned, a must buy. It's actually cheaper than like dedicated players out there.
Yeah.
And it comes with an Xbox One.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like, what it's got like 4K Blu-ray, the HDR, which like HDR is like
High dynamic range.
Yeah.
It's basically
a lot more contrast, right?
Yeah, more contrast. It's a higher color gamut as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember you saying like in the review that like the black pixels almost look like they're not even lit up at all.
right.
Or like, like ideally.
Right.
But and that's like supposedly the next big thing apart from 4K, like 4 times the resolution or whatever it really
Yeah,
is.
I think it's actually, in my opinion, it's probably a bigger difference. HDR is a bigger difference than a 1080p to 4K upgrade.
Mhm.
The colors are just really much more vibrant.
Yeah. So can you tell us about like obviously it's 40% smaller. I've heard it's pretty heavy for its
Now,
size.
apparently it isn't exactly 40% smaller. I don't know what the exact percentage is. But if you consider like the fact that it has an integrated power brick, it's actually like really impressively small because the
Yeah.
power brick on the original Xbox was massive.
There's no good place to put that thing ever. Like behind like an entertainment center.
I just bury it under dirty clothes
Yeah.
and pray it catches fire.
To
Yes.
burn your clothes you don't want?
Yes.
So the power brick is like back here, I believe. It's a
Okay.
lot smaller this time around too. 'Cause
Okay.
It's a little bit more power efficient.
And it's like, can you tell me about the specs? I'm gonna leave this to you too because I'm pretty dumb with.
The specs
in
are largely
general.
the same. It still has an AMD 8-core processor. I think it's clocked at like 1.7 gigahertz. The GPU is actually it's a little faster this time around. I think it's up from like 153 megahertz to like 914. And
Sounds like
that-
a lot.
It's a 7% boost.
Yeah.
And while some games can benefit slightly from this, it's going to be pretty hard to notice. It's mostly for the performance boost is mostly for HDR support.
Okay. Can someone's asking in the Twitch, can this stand vertically just like any other console? Or
It
is that,
can.
like,
I don't have the
universal?
stand in right now, but it can without it. It's sort of like the PlayStation where it can stand vertically, but probably go this way.
Are you guys vertical standers or horizontal?
I always want to be a vertical stander.
Uh-huh.
Like I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I could be that guy.
Vertical
that could be
like,
me.
Upright is the aspirational pose for your Xbox
And poise.
and poise.
Yeah. But I never managed to like get the stands, find a way to arrange it. It's just
I think most media centers are more geared towards like a horizontal kind of setup anyhow, unless you're going to put it on top of the table.
just
itself, I
rotate the media
suppose.
center 90 degrees.
Oh, there you go.
Be that guy.
The TV is going to be like super high up on the side.
All right, so there are updates right out of the gate, obviously. I was reading they take up 400 gigs. Is that correct? Or between the OS and updates?
Yeah, so
I'm
this...
gonna put this down before it falls.
Sure.
Yeah.
We
obscuring your
do live
lovely
in
beard
California
anyway.
where there's earthquakes. Yeah, so this is the 2 terabyte version. I wanted to see, after the OS updates and the firmware and all that stuff, how much space would I have, to play around with? And it was 1.6 terabytes. So that means, essentially 400.
So, but
Gigs are
that
taken
raises a question then. If you buy the 500 gigabyte version, you're only gonna have 100 gigabytes?
So I asked Microsoft this actually, and they basically kind of gave me a non-answer.
Man, screw that. That's such
Yeah, it was very
bullshit.
strange.
That's a real serious question that people need answered.
No,
because-
I definitely answered them, and they didn't.
I know
really,
you
Yeah,
did.
they
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
They didn't answer. It was very
God,
strange.
that's
I can't
Wow.
verify that.
Because what was
I
like,
think he was saying something with like there's something to do with like the summer sale, like taking up some. I don't know. He was saying something. He said something about summer sale in his answer. I
So,
don't
so
recall.
seasonally, your Xbox may have.
what was like the baseline Xbox One storage when it first came out?
500. I want
Yeah.
to say, yeah.
After everything else downloaded?
No,
Or
no,
you
no.
Oh,
just
you mean
had
after?
500? That's
I
still
didn't
what I
review the
have.
Xbox One,
I
so
don't remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's just like your experience been like performance wise playing games? Did you get a lot of time playing games with it at all?
Yeah, so I played about a half dozen games or so. I mean, it's it is 7% faster, but a lot of games are actually use like locked frame rates. Like for instance, if you're playing a game and it's like locked at 30 frames per second, well, just because it gets 7% faster, it's still locked at 30, so you're not going to see any difference.
Okay.
So if a game doesn't feature a locked frame rate, then theoretically you can. But like being able to tell the difference is going to be really hard.
Did you like in general kind of I don't know, can certain games in certain cases perform actually better on this? I remember reports came out in June that like there were certain specs with this that would allow games
If
to
there
play
are
better.
games that don't have unlocked frame rates, then theoretically yes,
Okay.
can get up to a 7%.
Because I was curious with this releasing, like whether this would tell us anything about the Scorpio, which is still largely like some of it's under wraps.
I don't think this is indicative of anything.
Because it's such a minor upgrade over the Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Aside from the actual
Yeah.
physical
And
size.
honestly, I feel like the performance differences you're going to see, like, it's not really a selling point for the console.
No.
You shouldn't buy this because it's going to be maybe
Yeah.
7%.
I mean, so it's maybe 7% faster, but like a video card, you can overclock that to be like 15% faster.
Yeah.
So like it's not a huge thing.
No.
Just to put it
Yeah.
in perspective.
I mean, I wonder how much this is just. I mean, obviously, it's just filling the gap before the Scorpio comes out because we're getting into those,
Sure.
the more of a PC life cycle for a console. It's not like just going to be an Xbox One, Xbox Two anymore.
Yeah.
And I wonder
maybe
how
we
much
could
of
see
this-
like an S for every generation, sort of like the iPhone.
I'm wondering like if it's this, how much of this was a reaction to like PS 4.5 or whatever to fill that gap and kind of compete still, and especially the NX coming out in the spring, supposedly maybe just Microsoft was trying to fill that
It's
gap.
a real easy way to renew interest in their console, a console that hasn't been selling as well as the competition.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a new version. It's sleeker, it's sexier, it's no longer this big hulking thing. And yeah, maybe it's a little bit faster and maybe you get some more media stuff with it as well.
Yeah.
Like that might tip some people over the edge and make Microsoft look like they understand the problems with the original Xbox One and are improving it.
Yeah. Because there's like, apart from the actual hardware, there's nothing else. Like, they're not like updating any. It's going to be just, if you turn it on, it's going to seem like an Xbox One experience, right? Apart from minor
Yep.
instances,
Yeah, it doesn't have a Connect port though, so you'll need a
Right.
USB adapter for that.
which is a bummer.
Well, I mean,
That was
there's,
my
the
drive.
Skype,
there are
the
people,
Skype calls, man.
That's true, man.
Yeah.
There are people though who I think maybe do use the voice commands, but you don't have to trade in your Xbox One if you already do that and you've already got one.
Yeah.
So you probably don't need to worry about it.
Do either of you, like, aside from the fact that you're reviewing it for work, plan on getting one?
I'm currently borrowing an Xbox One from work, and the idea of owning this sounds good to me, but the idea of spending money on it does not,
Yeah.
because the Scorpio is looming, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm attracted to it, but I'm not jumping at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think my my desk space is like it's pretty full right now, and to be honest, I mostly play on PC, but I do think it is the best and sexiest Xbox there is, and it's weird because I called it sexy in the review, and the comments were like, "How can you call an inanimate thing sexy?" I was like, "Oh, Lamborghini can be kind of sexy." Right?
I don't know. How can you be a jerk on the internet?
Oh,
Type
man.
of
It's
comment like that.
a plethora of ways.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess, I don't know, is there anything else you should know, like specs-wise? I think you covered it. Like whether, I guess the big question being like if it's worth getting in the gap, which you were saying.
It's kind of in a strange. It's in a very strange space because I don't think we've ever encountered a new system refresh with the company announcing a new next-gen console before, or at least I can't
Well, they
call in a scenario.
They showed the refresh of the Xbox 360 when they announced the Xbox One. They came out with an even slimmer version of the Xbox 360, which I
okay.
think there are like 3 or 4 versions of. But I mean, you got to remember the Scorpio is going to be really expensive,
Yeah.
and they've even come out and said like it's going to be pricey. So,
Right.
if you think about it in those terms, right? Like if you want to be a part of the Xbox ecosystem,
And it's going to be backwards compatible as
exactly.
well. So
Yeah.
Do you think like Sony and Microsoft released the Xbox One and PS4 knowing that the life cycle would become like this, or is this just very much adapting on the fly to what PC like are now?
I mean, when they shifted to the architecture that is no longer like semi-custom chips. I mean, they're sort of, I guess they are maybe a little semi-custom.
I mean,
but
they're customized.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like
they're x86.
it's not like they're making like weird PowerPC chips anymore.
That's an interesting question. I actually kind of wrote an article that touches upon that. I think I mean, you'd have to ask them, but like going to an x86 architecture, which is the same architecture that computers use, PCs use, it opens the door. So maybe they kind of had that in mind. I don't know if like, pre 2013, before these consoles were out, and these consoles were designed, much earlier than that. I don't know if they had, concrete plans just yet, but I think it was just like, yeah, if we wanted to, we probably could.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally I'm gonna hold off on this. I have an Xbox One. I use it a
How
lot.
dare you? It's so sexy.
It does look really good, and it also just seems like it would fit better in the space I have as opposed to that VCR player of a console that I use now. And then again, I bring this up all the time because it annoys me that much, but my roommate Jake Decker has the loudest Xbox One ever, so I might buy one for him so I don't have to deal with that thing anymore.
More like Jerk Decker.
Jerk Decker, yeah.
Oh, his Xbox is loud. The Xbox One's loud.
Its fan is like playing maracas when it spins around.
that
I don't know how
that
else to
doesn't
describe it without like actually being like, I don't know the technical terms, what happening, some
The
belt
technical
broke or
term.
something.
How do you say maraca in technical terms?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, yeah, that is the Xbox One S. You can read the full review on GameSpot right now. Jimmy wrote it. Overall, maybe hold off if you want a Scorpio. If you don't have an Xbox One, go for this. It's smaller. It's kind of a similar experience. But yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know if you think you're going to get one. Let us know what you think if you might hold off like I will for the Scorpio in the comments below. Thanks so much, Jimmy.